I take my hat off to you guys for coming out and learning stuff from all these different coaches. I think it's a real important thing that you and myself, I'll stop by and listen to people speak. If I pick up one thing, I think it's well worth the time and effort. So great job coming out and getting this, listening to different people speak. One of the things we notice now as we go out as recruiters to these different tournaments, all the teams have their recruiting coordinator. And it's kind of amazing. It's like, they come up and ask you what you're looking for. And my answer, well, I always wanted to say this, is I'm looking for some kid that's 6'6", and probably about 7. You got any? Or left-handed maybe? Someone like Monica Abbott, something like that. Because if you get a pitcher, you have a pretty good shot making the World Series, right? They can take you a long way. But sometimes it's like, are you kidding me? Do I really need to tell you what I'm looking for? I'm looking for the best player. Who's your best player out there? When you're looking at top D1 schools, okay, they're looking for maybe the top 1-2% of all players in the country. And so you have to remember that too if your kids are going out trying to be recruited by those top schools. Are they really capable of those skills to get to that level? There's nothing wrong with trying, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with someone telling you can't do something and using it as fuel. I mean, there's lots of examples out there, right? Lucy Fernandez, he probably should never be a pitcher, too small. Michael Jordan, cut by his high school coach. I'd like to be that guy. Right? But anyhow, so when you're looking for a school, looking for a place to go, ask what are my priorities? What do I really want to get out of this? Am I in it for academics? Am I in it for softball? What kind of major do I want to take? Does the school have my major? For example, like if you want to do an engineering degree, going to Oregon may not be the best place as opposed to Oregon State. And I'm sure you have your techs and your different types of schools. So what do you really want to do? And where do I want to go? How big a school? And that can be a big thing for a kid from a small area, from a small town. If they're going to go to like an ASU, Arizona State, where 60,000 plus people, or kids at that school, or do they want to go to a smaller city and feel a little more at home in a smaller environment? Smaller college environment, like 23,000. Do you want to go to Stanford? Are you a priority of your grades? If you want to go to Stanford, even though they say they're verbal commitments, nothing's guaranteed until you're a senior. And you get your grades, and you got to be accepted by the university. I know this because my daughter goes to Stanford, and she had to go past. She had offers from Arizona State, Washington, turned down, hoping that she'd get that opportunity, be good enough to be accepted into their academic program. So those are things you got to weigh up and have those in the back of your mind. And by the way, that's an interesting contest when I play my daughter, right? She's a pitcher, I'm a pitching coach, I'm over there on third base, I'm trying to pick her pitches. I do it, she yells at me, doesn't talk to me for 3 weeks, then mom yells at me and doesn't talk to me for 3 weeks. So it's an interesting time of years, and that's coming up pretty soon. Our first Pac-12 contest is against her at home, so I may be moving in with my assistant coach. So, but how good a player am I? What are my tools like? Where do I fit? Am I the best player on my team? What skills do I have that are going to be valuable to a college coach or the type of college I'm going to? Those are things you'll look at. What type of program is best for me? Do you want to go to a smaller conference? Do you want to go so far away from home? Again, things that you have on your list and you rank them from 1 to 10. How important are these things to me? It gives you something to go back on, because when you go to when you visit these schools and the girls go to these schools, they're all great. Okay, they're all great. They all look great. They've got great facilities, great academics, great backing. They all look great. Good coaches. So you need something to kind of keep everything black and white so you understand. How important is it to me to start as a freshman? To me, I don't care. Best players are going to play. Okay, and I did that when I came in the first year. We came from a 16 and 32 record, I believe it was, a 16 and 34. I just wanted best players out there. Seniority didn't matter. It was you need to go out and you're doing your time out there in the field. And the same thing's going to hold true next year. But eventually, what do I hope? I hope that it's harder and harder for my freshmen to start, right? Because hopefully my talent pool's better and the kids are better. And so we want to have that competition from day one and try and get them to fight for those positions. Okay. Am I willing to play new positions? And that can be real important because I listened to Mike Andrea talk, and he said when he first started coaching and going out, he said, I'm looking for everyone's a shortstop. I got shortstops in the outfield, I got shortstop at second base, I got shortstop at third. Because typically your best players tend to gravitate to where shortstop, right? Because they get the most balls, the most plays, and whatever. But really you need to start looking at specific things as well. Like, I also don't want to get too loaded down to too many corners. You don't want to get too many corners on your squad, so you need to look at things, how's the balance fit? And so as a player, if you are a shortstop, I coached Caleb Rowe from Alabama, which is a 12U, 14U up in high school. And she always played shortstop. And I tried to tell her grandfather, who was her coach and high school coach as well, that she needs to play other positions because she may not start at shortstop in college. And she never did play those positions. Well, where's she playing now? Outfield, right? She's pretty good outfield. So you need to prepare for those sort of things, play some other positions, get some experience. It makes you more valuable to the coaches as well. Okay? If you're a pitcher, go and play first base and third base, something like that. Okay. An LLI, okay? It's a contract, and it's one of the things I remind my kids about. It's a business, okay? And you know, I get paid because the team wins. I don't want you guys to worry too much about that. I just need to get your best effort each and every day, and we will get better. We'll teach you how to be better. But it is a contract, and I expect you to hold up your end of the bargain. That means you're going to get something, a scholarship, and in return, I want you to put in the hard work and keep your grades up, attend your classes, do your tutors, all those types of things. That's the second part of the contract. Okay? Of course, there are rights and everything, and some of those contracts have changed now. Of course, now we can write that 4-year contract where we say for 4 years you're going to get this, and you can be a lot more specific on how you write those things. We haven't done any of those yet. Typically, it's year to year, and during the year, you cannot lose, like say if you're a full ride student, I can't come in halfway through a year and say, you suck, and I'm going to take half your money. That can't happen for athletic performance. But at the end of the year, you can come in and say, hey, you just not holding up your end of the bargain, we're going to cut you some money. Okay, now, you get into the habit of doing that, you're going to get a pretty bad name out there, and people aren't going to want to go to you, so that doesn't happen very often. Okay, but typically, cuts will happen, and this can happen any time through a year, if you break team rules, if you break the law, DUIs, things, stupid stuff like stealing, stuff like that. You can actually change the scholarship mid-year for that. But most of the time, if there's going to be a change, it can be up to. Sometimes money comes back to the program for various reasons, and it can be increased. Okay. Verbal commitment. And this is probably one of the most common things you all hear out there right now. We're waiting for a commitment from a fetus pretty soon. But, the way it's going is it's so far out there that typically it's an agreement between the current coach and the player. Okay? Now, if a current coach gets fired or leaves or goes another place, it's not really binding. It's not. The school doesn't have to do that. Okay? When I came in for the coach to get fired, they told me it's up to you. Do what you want. Either you can take these players and honor the agreement, or you can let them go. And sometimes that can and cannot be a bad situation because not every coach is for every player, not every player is for every coach. Okay, a kid may not fit that scheme you've got going and may not play much. So you need to be upfront and honest with each other. Some schools just honor it flat out, so you can't cut them. Like Minnesota, my assistant coach Jess Allison went to Minnesota. And she had to keep all her kids. That was part of the agreement. And that's fine too. But, so what I had to do when I came in was I went out and I looked at the kids first, found out where they fit my scheme. One kid didn't want to play for me, and she left, and that's fine too. I understand. So it goes both ways as well. It's not just a one-way street. So it goes both ways. So she was let out of her agreement, and she went to play for somebody else. But typically it's up to the kid. And the coach, it's a good fit. You want to be upfront and honest, okay? But this is the one thing that I'm big on. I say I would. Right now, the verbal commitments are pretty honorable in college softball. What I'm saying by that is, what's funny, I was looking at the football things coming up in 3 weeks, right? Signing day, and they're out there and they're trying to poach each other's verbal commitments. I mean, that hasn't really started to happen yet in softball, but I imagine it's probably not too far down the road. We'll probably will start to happen. For the most part, we're pretty honorable bunch of people. So that's a good thing. You cannot receive anything in writing. So if you go somewhere and you're in there and you get a verbal offer, it cannot be in writing. You can't take something away from you and say, this is what I'm going to get. Okay, it's an honorable, it's on a handshake, it's on someone's word. And it must follow all the NCAA rules. So in other words, it has to be done on campus, typically, on a visit, and follow those rules. Okay. See, what's expected of you? Good academic standing. I don't care how good a player you are. I'm going to look at your grades and see what kind of academic standing you have. These are the things that are going to be minimums. And this is next year's standards. There's 16 core course requirements, and you can go down the list there. And obviously, what we tend to do is once you commit to us, and I imagine all schools, when I'm saying this from my side, it's probably most schools are doing this, you get into our tracking system. Our compliance starts to track you. And we want you to send in copies of your transcripts and your grades, and we're going to see if you get the right courses. So it's not going to be all of a sudden we get to your senior year and say, you need this, this, and this. No, we're going to kind of track it a little further down, a little further out than that. Typically when you're a sophomore, junior, we're going to get into those things. We're going to make sure that your GPA is a minimum of 2.3. Okay, and you have a SAT score on a sliding scale that matches. And so you can see an example of that there. And this stuff's all available online, you can find it. One big thing here, you have to be a qualifier to enter a four-year institution. That means you must have these things to be a qualifier. If you don't have that, I can't get you in. I got you in, and nobody else can get you in. Okay, and I had that situation happen this year to me. Had a kid who, actually, I'm not going to go too much details, but they were twins, and they went to a pretty bad school in a bad area in California, and they were kind of like afraid to go to classes and everything, got off to a bad start, had some F's, had some D's on their transcripts. Parents took them out, put them in a private school, grades were up in the 3.3s, but those D's and F's stayed with them. And it's hard to get off, and so they were non-qualified. They had to do special admits on them. And I was only able to get one kid in. She's still not in yet. So it's not a guaranteed thing. You've got to make sure you keep those grades up. The kids know that. Keep those grades up. Okay. For us, I'm looking for one person. I'm looking for a kid for a 3.5 and above. Okay, I want to see that, and especially kids that are 3.6 to 3.8 at our school. If you're out of state, you get about an extra $5,000.